There comes a moment in every man's life when he begins to realize that the world has been quietly programming him since the day he was born. Programming him to doubt himself, to follow instead of lead, to drift instead of decide, to accept limitation as if it were natural law. And most people never wake up from it. They move through life reacting to circumstances, blaming conditions, waiting for luck, waiting for permission, waiting for some mysterious force to finally change their destiny. But the truth is far simpler than that. You become what you think about most of the time. That single idea has built empires and destroyed lives. Before we begin, support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and leaving a comment about the lesson that speaks to you the most. And to everyone supporting this journey, thank you sincerely. Your support is deeply appreciated and helps spread these messages to those who truly need them. Habit number 1. Most people never truly decide what they want. That is the great tragedy of human life. Not failure, not hardship, not struggle. Indecision. Most men wander through life without a clearly defined purpose. They hope for success while thinking about failure. They desire greatness while clinging to comfort. They dream of freedom while obeying habits that keep them imprisoned. And life responds accordingly. A ship without a destination will always be at the mercy of the sea. The moment a man chooses a definite purpose, something extraordinary begins to happen. His mind sharpens, his energy changes, his actions slowly begin aligning with the image he holds within himself. Number 2. Your mind is always creating something whether you realize it or not. Your mind is constantly shaping your future. Thoughts are not harmless things drifting through empty space. They are seeds. And seeds grow. Fear grows, resentment grows, doubt grows, excuses grow. But discipline grows too. Confidence grows too. Vision grows too. The mind does not care what you plant inside it. It simply nourishes whatever is repeated consistently. That is why a man must guard his thoughts carefully. Modern life floods the human mind with distraction, negativity, noise, and endless comparison. And after years of consuming poison, people wonder why they feel weak, anxious, and directionless. You cannot build a powerful life with a defeated mind. Number 3. Success begins long before results appear. Most people misunderstand success. They think success begins when money arrives, when recognition appears, when the world finally applauds them. But success begins much earlier than that. It begins in silence, in private discipline, in repeated effort, in the invisible decision to continue moving forward when no reward is guaranteed. A man who learns to work without immediate validation becomes extremely dangerous because he is no longer controlled by emotion. He understands that every meaningful achievement is built slowly, thought by thought, action by action, day by day. Nature itself teaches this lesson. The farmer does not plant a seed and demand a harvest tomorrow. He understands that growth requires patience, consistency, and faith in the process. Yet most people quit too early because they expect immediate rewards for temporary effort. Number 4. Fear is the greatest destroyer of human potential. Fear has imprisoned more dreams than failure ever could. Fear of criticism, fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment, fear of uncertainty. And because of fear, millions of people live far beneath their true potential. They silence their ideas, they delay their ambitions, they shrink themselves to fit the comfort of others. But courage changes everything. Not because courageous men feel no fear, but because they refuse to surrender to it. Every successful person eventually reaches a point where they act despite uncertainty. They move despite discomfort. They continue despite doubt, because they understand something most people never learn. Growth and comfort never coexist for very long. Number 5. The world pays you according to the value you create. The marketplace does not reward wishes. It rewards value. A man who solves problems becomes valuable. A man who develops rare skills becomes valuable. A man who can remain calm under pressure becomes valuable. And this is why self-development matters so deeply. Every book you study, every skill you master, every disciplined habit you build, increases your ability to contribute something meaningful to the world. Most people focus on what they want to receive from life. Very few focus on what they are becoming. But life has an unusual way of responding to those who dedicate themselves to growth. Opportunities begin appearing. Connections begin forming. Doors begin opening. Not by accident, but because the individual himself has changed. Number 6. You were not designed to drift. There is something within every human being that desires expansion. To grow, to achieve, to create, to overcome. And when a man ignores that inner calling for too long, he begins to feel empty. That emptiness is not weakness. It is misalignment, a reminder that you were created for more than survival and distraction. The modern world encourages passivity because passive people are easy to control. They consume endlessly, question very little, and rarely challenge their own limitations. But the man who begins thinking independently becomes impossible to contain. He no longer accepts average thinking simply because it is common. He begins constructing his own philosophy, his own standards, his own vision for life. And that is when transformation truly begins. Number 7. Discipline is greater than motivation. Motivation is temporary. It rises and falls like emotion because it is emotion. Discipline is different. Discipline continues after excitement fades, after inspiration disappears, after comfort vanishes. The strongest individuals are not those who feel inspired every day. They are those who have trained themselves to act regardless of mood. And this is one of the greatest secrets of achievement. Small, repeated actions become identity over time. A man who trains consistently becomes strong. A man who studies consistently becomes intelligent. A man who thinks consistently about success begins moving toward success almost automatically. Number 8. The image you hold of yourself determines your life. Human beings tend to live according to the picture they carry within themselves. If a man secretly believes he is weak, incapable, or unworthy, his behavior will unconsciously reflect that belief. But when he begins seeing himself differently, his entire world begins changing. His posture changes, his decisions change, his standards change. That inner image becomes a blueprint for external reality. This is why successful people protect their self-image carefully. They refuse to constantly feed themselves thoughts of defeat and limitation, because the subconscious mind accepts repetition as truth, and whatever it accepts as truth, it eventually attempts to create. 9. Every day you are becoming someone, whether intentionally or unintentionally. You are becoming someone through repeated thought and action. No day is neutral. You are either building strength or weakening it, building clarity or confusion, building discipline or excuses. Life compounds quietly. One decision may seem insignificant, but repeated thousands of times, it becomes character. And character ultimately determines destiny. This is why successful people understand the importance of daily habits. They know greatness is rarely created in dramatic moments. It is created in ordinary moments repeated consistently. 10. The future belongs to the man who controls his mind. The greatest battle any person will ever fight is the battle for control over his own thinking, because once a man controls his thoughts, he begins controlling his actions, and once he controls his actions, he begins shaping his future deliberately instead of accidentally. Most people never realize how much power exists within disciplined thought. They underestimate the force of concentration, vision, persistence, and belief sustained over time. But history has always belonged to the individuals who refused to think like the crowd, the men who saw possibility where others saw limitation, the men who remained focused while others became distracted, the men who continued moving while others surrendered. And perhaps the most important truth of all is this: the life you desire already begins in the mind, long before it appears in reality. So protect your thoughts carefully.